finding the time to do this, making sure that it remains a priority. A lot of people say, I don't have time for that. And it's like, no, if you're saying you don't have time for that, it's just not a priority. I would encourage clients to pick maybe a mantra that speaks to you. Use positive affirmations. So I'd ask a client this maybe would you talk to a friend that way? And they're oftentimes like, no. I would actually tell them the opposite. I'm like, I could see myself.
Okay, so here we are with another episode of Real Clients and Real Stories, and today I have with us Tiffany Kasper, who is a client of ours from our Geneva gym, and this is all about you guys out there, the H4 community, getting to know fellow community members a little bit better, maybe see if you connect with their journey, or maybe there's some things that you can take away from how they've come along from a fitness standpoint, from a just life standpoint. So Tiffany, let's get to it. We like to start with just a couple icebreakers so you can kind of get to know her a little bit better with some fun questions. So we're gonna start with, if you could only eat at one place the rest of your life, where would that place be?
Well, I think that's pretty easy. Au Cheval in the city.
Very swanky.
The best darn burger ever.
That's a great choice. I'm sure many of you, if you've been in the city, would agree. I know Jordan will for sure. Second question, what terrifies you in life?
What terrifies me? Deep water.
I'm right there with you.
I took an intro to kayaking class last weekend. Yeah, that was real fun and out of my comfort zone, but I did it.
I'm right there with you. And the last question here on our icebreakers would be, any car. I have a blank check. You could have any car you wanted, whatever it might be. What would that be?
I'd really like to get behind a Formula One McLaren.
Very nice. Awesome. All right, so hopefully that kind of helped you get to know Tiffany a little bit here with some fun questions. So let's dive now into the more interesting stuff, right? The fitness part of it. So Tiffany, tell us, everyone has their own journey when it comes to fitness. What's your fitness journey been? Kind of take everyone into, how you got to where you are now with your fitness.
Well, going back in time, I was not at all athletic in school. If I was asked to run the mile in gym, I was the one who was walking it and really had no interest, but now I am the type of person who will pay to run. So I went from that to marathon runner, and fitness buff. I don't know that I'd call myself that, but
so
in comparison to high school, yeah.
No sports in high school.
No sports
Never
at
worked
all.
out at all. Didn't touch a weight. Didn't have any interest.
I did the required gym class, the bare minimum. Yeah.
So what changed? How did you go from someone that doesn't want to do any of that to working out multiple times a week, and fitness is a big part of your lifestyle? What happened in between there?
Well, so I started running a few 5Ks in 2013. Then I joined a running group, and that first group run, they're like, oh yeah, you're definitely gonna run a half marathon or full marathon one day. I'm like, yeah, right. But I did go on to do that. So I think the group atmosphere was really fun and encouraged me to do more. Well, I learned through my running, you can't just solely be running because you're likely going to get injured. You need a little bit more. So I thought, I need to do some cross training. Well, when I moved out here to Geneva back in 2018, I needed a gym to be a part of, knew nobody in the community, so I'm like, okay, this seems pretty cool. I could do a trial run, see if I like it. And well, now it's been almost 3.5 years.
Yeah, still with us today, one of our staple clients. So Was that an easy thing to do, to start diving into a group atmosphere from a weight standpoint, and going from I just run to weights? Was that difficult for you? Were you nervous? What was the mindset when you first started?
First of all, I was very nervous. This was challenging because I am more introverted. So to come and show up and I don't know anybody and the coaches are being really friendly and trying to get to know you, out of my comfort zone. The more consistently that I came, I'd say that the more comfortable it felt, because you're usually working out with the same people. You get to know the people who work out there too. And the one thing that's really emphasized at H4 is, well, don't really compare yourself to what others are doing and what others' capabilities are, because we're all on different paths, and we all have different goals.
So was there a turning point for you, like when you started to feel like this is now my lifestyle, this is no longer like, oh, what am I doing? Like, this is just part of me now. Was there that turning point, or how long did it take you before you're like, this is just my normal habit?
I think it took a few months for it to become routine. And then I'm just like, this is just what I do on, like Tuesdays, Thursdays. I used to be a 5 a.m.er, and then the pandemic hit and I changed jobs. I'm like, no, I'm not doing 5 a.m. anymore. So now I'm with the 7 o'clock.
Get a little extra rest, right?
So yes.
So when you kind of look at your journey, what were some of the big obstacles? Because everyone watching, we all have something, if not multiple things. What were some of the ones that kind of tried to derail you and maybe still do today?
So 2 things come to mind. One, in addition to the whole running thing, I am a mountain biker. So back in the fall of 2017, I actually had a mountain biking accident, a trimalleolar fracture. So I shattered my ankle, and I was told I could not bear weights for 6 weeks straight. And that was hard because I was laid up on the couch. Here I am, used to running and mountain biking, and I can't even bear weight. I can't even walk. So when I was allowed to start bearing weight, I had to relearn to walk again before I could get to the running and the mountain biking again.
What was that like mentally?
Mentally, that was a struggle. It drove me nuts. Because I went from being a very active person at that time in my life to a complete halt.
Total change of lifestyle.
It was hard mentally, because I couldn't even get up and go to work. I was on that couch all day. And thanks to my physical therapist, who was an athlete, they're a triathlete, they understood that I really wanted to run again, really wanted to mountain bike again. They're like, okay, by the time you finish physical therapy, I'm gonna see you running on that treadmill again and making sure that it's safe and you're good to do it again.
So they were kind of giving you that positive outlook, like, hey, we can see you doing what you want to do,
yeah.
Which I'm sure that helped.
Yep, so that was a few good months of physical therapy. That was from like October through Christmas, just about, yeah.
Okay, and so once that kind of started getting better and better, could you feel yourself like up top here? Okay, now I'm starting to get back in the game a little bit?
Mentally, it was starting to come back, but it was a struggle at first because I dealt with pain. The orthopedic surgeon said, there's a chance that you could have arthritis in your ankle. That's just the nature of a traumatic injury like that. And so hence H4 training comes in. I still really didn't have the full range of motion in the ankle, and we have really strengthened some essential muscles that I need for running and mountain biking. So strengthening up like calves again, that was huge. The quads.
All the main muscles.
All those main muscles that I need for running and mountain biking. So when I started at H4, I couldn't do like a regular squat. They had to take one of those weighted plates, place it under one of my feet so that I could start getting the proper form.
But now look at what you're doing, right?
Yes.
And now I know before we started recording, you were also mentioning a doctor visit and what kind of obstacle that created. So I want you to kind of share with everybody, because I'm sure all all of you listening have had maybe this moment with a doctor.
So you know when you go to the doctor and you have to step on the dread scale and you're like, I don't even want to see the number. Well, so that was the case, stepping on the scale, and the doctor saying, hey, you're in that obese BMI range, and if you could really just lose even 12 pounds and just get into the overweight range, I'd feel so much better, because right now you're at greater risk for heart disease, stroke, and that really was unsettling for me. It made me feel really poorly about me and my body image. It was scary because, okay, well, I want to live a long and healthy life, so I don't want to risk having a stroke, heart attack, other health problems. They told me I was at risk for developing diabetes too, and so, yeah.
And just for everyone watching, like, BMI is definitely not the best thing to be going off of. Medical professionals probably even tell you that, but it's what they have right now, and sadly they go off that. And if you're in somewhat really good shape and even have a good amount of lean muscle, it really is going to probably tell you that you're obese. So just disclaimer on that, but it clearly does not make you feel good when anyone tells you that. So go on. Sorry to interrupt you on that.
No, that's important to add. So, I mean, I feel like I tried everything under the sun. I'm doing everything right. I'm very active, working out, struggling to make changes to my nutrition, but I am making changes to my nutrition, and still the scale isn't budging. So I'm thinking, okay, can there be something underlying that might be contributing to this? Well, I wound up seeing a weight loss doctor, and they're like, okay, we're gonna run some labs. Well, come to find out, I am insulin resistant, and that can work against you with weight loss.
So that was kind of like, okay.
Yes. So after trying a number of things, feeling so frustrated, I decided to go the medication route, and been doing that since December, still continuing on with H4. The doctor mentioned, you know, it's great that you're doing that. I want you to continue to do that. You have to continue to get a lot of protein in and keep building up that muscle mass, because when you're losing the fat mass, you don't want to lose the muscle mass too.
Exactly. And I think probably a lesson there for everyone watching is just maybe if you feel like you're beating your head against the wall and you're not seeing something, it could be something you have no idea. In this case, you had no idea that it had to do with insulin. So make sure you get that checked out. Blood work is a great thing for that. What do you see that could be obstacles for you just moving forward in life?
Moving forward, I would say that the obstacles are finding the time to do this, making sure that it remains a priority. A lot of people say, I don't have time for that. And it's like, no, if you're saying you don't have time for that, it's just not a priority.
Yes, you know who you are listening, watching.
Sorry to call you out.
Yes.
But it could be hard to find that time, especially if you are a busy working professional and you're so busy helping other people in your line of work. It's like we kind of go on the back burner, but still have to make that time. It has to be non-negotiable, because that is self-care, the way that we fuel ourselves and the exercise.
So how do you do that? Do you put it in, you know, we tell clients try to put it in a calendar like it's an important meeting. Like, how do you have success keeping it that priority? Do you anything special, or?
Honestly, I have to schedule everything, like my work calendar with those sessions with clients. I'm putting the H4 appointments in there too, in that same calendar, so that I'm not overbooking myself, and I can make sure, hey, I can make this. I can't book a client in this time slot.
So you're almost treating it like you had a client at that time.
Yep.
And you don't like, well, whatever, I'll push it, I'll change it, I'll cancel, right? You keep adhere to it. So yeah, great lesson again with that. What other advice might you have for somebody? Well, first tell everyone what you do so they don't just think you're maybe just giving them random advice, but.
So what I do for a living, I am a licensed clinical social worker. I work in a group practice out in St. Charles doing counseling, so a therapist by trade. I actually work with people, I have had some clients who are struggling with weight loss, and it's very psychological. So without nerding out too much, I believe cognitive behavioral therapy is important. So when I say that, okay, Just to simplify it, our thoughts, feelings, behaviors, all connected. So maybe if you're struggling with something like anxiety or depression, that could have an impact on you physically as well. And so
like, would that cause you maybe to physically feel not right or run down or not great about yourself, maybe?
You could feel fatigued, you could have stomach issues, you could be having, I like to call them cognitive distortions, so an unhealthy pattern of thinking. You know, you might be thinking, oh, well, I can't do that, or I suck, or I look like crap.
Just pure negativity.
Pure negativity. And so I'm teaching clients, okay, we have to challenge and reframe those thoughts. Pretty much like telling them the opposite, like, no, like, you're not gonna fail, you're gonna succeed. And no, you're not stupid, you're not terrible, you're actually the opposite. Helping pull strengths out of people. Helping to change their mindset about things.
Is there something that you think someone watching this could do even at home with themselves that could help? Any little tip on that?
Any little tip on that? I would encourage clients to pick maybe a mantra that speaks to you. Use positive affirmations.
And just kind of look at that or read that every day, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say support systems are huge, so I'd ask a client this maybe would you talk to a friend that way? And they're oftentimes like, no, I would actually tell them the opposite. I'm like, you have to treat yourself like you would treat that friend. It's a good way to look at it.
Awesome. Well, Tiffany, thank you for not only giving us some tips and advice, but sharing your journey, obstacles in your life. And look for our next episode of Real Clients, Real Stories next month.